Hey, good morning there, sweet peas. I'm trying this ring light thing that my daughter has, so we'll see how this goes. But I want to talk about Mylar bags real quick. So I get 100 Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers off of Amazon for about $45. You can get them in 25 and 50 count too, I believe. Very inexpensive. I get the 2-gallon size. I can actually cut them in half, so I typically will get 2 for the price of 1 depending on what I'm storing. I do all of my dry goods in there, so flour, sugar, spices, herbs, rice, beans, pasta, pretty much any dry goods go into the Mylar bags. Now, word of advice, flour typically only has about a 6 to 8 month shelf life. They might have a little bit longer in the Mylar bags, I'm not sure. If at any time you open up flour and it smells moldy, musty, mildewy, sour, that means your flour has gone rancid and you need to throw it out. I store all kinds of different flour. I am gluten-free. I don't have celiac, but I have a sensitivity to it. And if I eat a lot of gluten, my fibromyalgia tends to flare up. So I have almond flour, coconut flour, and gluten-free flour stored as well. Periodically, I go through, make sure everything is good, make sure everything is fine, and if it's not, I throw it out and I replenish that. Now, the alternative to that is actually just storing your own grains and grinding your own flour. Now, I have not gone there. I have not done that. Just putting that out there right now. The other thing that you might want to do is to stock up on Clorox wipes and Lysol spray. I know a lot of people don't like Clorox wipes. In my family, we actually use them on an everyday basis anyway, a lot. So every time I'm at the store, I get like the 3-pack. If I go to the bigger like drugstore or box store, I'll get an extra 3-pack and store it. The other thing is really important is rubbing alcohol and peroxide. I like to have that on hand. Rubbing alcohol 70% or higher. I like to have it on hand because it is good for a lot of different uses other than just first aid. Bleach is another one. You don't have to store up a lot of bleach, but there are different uses for bleach as well, and a little goes a long way, so you don't have to store up a ton of that. I do want to talk about freezers. So I have 2 chest freezers and a stand-up freezer, as well as my fridge freezer in my house. Now, a lot of people are anti-freezer because if the power goes out, you're losing everything in the freezer. We do have a generator. We have a big enough generator that can run our house as well as all of our other appliances and stuff that we have. We typically stock enough fuel to last us about 2.5 to 3 weeks. When we run the generator, if we do have power outages, and we live in Northern California, so we have rolling power outages at some point throughout the year. But if we do lose power for an extended period of time, we have enough fuel stocked up that could last us about 2.5 to 3 weeks because we turn the generator off at night. We don't run it 24/7. We run it for a few hours during the day, enough to basically keep our freezers going. We turn it off at night. They're usually stocked pretty full, so it keeps everything cold until we start the generator the next day, so we're able to stretch our fuel storage. We also have propane tanks. We have small propane tanks, about 7 or 8 of them. The small 5 or 7 gallon, I think, and then we have 3 or 4 of the larger, I think they're 15 gallon. We have a burner that propane burner that we use to scald the chickens before we pluck them when we're processing. So that's kind of our backup as any kind of cooking source or even as a heat source if we need be. We don't like to store up a lot of fuel because, like I said, we are in Northern California. It is in the middle of summer. We have a huge fire season out here, so we try to be safe. Toward the winter, we try to stock up a little bit more on fuel if fuel is available at that time. Wood is a really great thing to store up if you have a wood stove or even a fireplace. In our house, our wood stove is our only heat source. That is the only heat source that we have in this entire house. So it is vital for us during the wintertime to stock up on wood. Now, I typically think we're going to have a really hard winter. In my area of Northern California, we have a really hard winter about every 3 to 4 years, and we are due this year. Not to mention, I think we're going to end up in another lockdown. So right now, we have about almost double what we typically would have to get us through a normal winter. We are actually going to be going out and doing some more wood cutting and stocking up even more because I think that we are going to go through it. Wood stoves are an amazing thing to have, not just as a heat source, but for cooking as well. And we actually do a lot of cooking on the heat or on the wood stove during the winter time. So those are just kind of some quick other things to stock up on. I will take you guys out and kind of show you my stores and how I keep things. Oh, the other thing I want to touch base on is it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to keep a high proof clear liquor on hand. That's just my suggestion, my opinion. I keep a couple of bottles of a high proof clear liquid on hand at all times. It has a lot of uses. If you get a high enough proof, it could have a lot of uses to it. I'll also use it as a bartering tool if need be. So, but I always, just to keep it on hand, I always have it on hand. Paper towels and toilet paper, of course, everybody kind of knows might be not a bad idea to stock up because, and not necessarily that's a must-have item. I think that's kind of a luxury item, so to speak. But if we do end up in another lockdown situation, which I think we will, it's just a really good idea to have everything that you need to make your family comfortable on hand. So not a bad idea to pick up an extra toilet paper or paper towel when you're out and about. So that's about that. If you guys have any questions or comments, please subscribe. I would appreciate it. I will show you my stores at a different time, and we'll talk about some other things that you can do. But definitely now is the time. I think we are running out of time to stock up, and it's never too late to start.